Happy Sunday, everybody. So every week, what I do is I put up a poll with 4 different decks that were all successfully piloted to Mythic with a 60% win rate and at least 50 matches that you guys then vote on, and I do a gameplay video of. So this week, Mono Black Discard won the poll, and this one was a list by Lazy Goblin. Went 49 and 33 for 60% into Mythic in the first week of Bloomburrow. And so it's not leaning totally as heavily into discard as some of the decks, but we still have a fair amount of hand hate. So we have Ruthless Negotiation, which can make them exile a card from their hand twice. It gives you a card when you flash it back from the graveyard. Bandit's Talent, making them discard 2 cards unless they discard a non-land card. Liliana the Veil can make both players discard a card. We also have the Bitter Triumph, which you can discard a card to destroy target creature or planeswalker. So this does have some filling of the graveyard if you're discarding your own cards. Then the creator was exploring running Feed the Cycle, which allows you to forage and exile those 4 cards from your, or 3 cards from your graveyard and utilize that. So there's a little synergy there. And so not running the Go for the Throats, which are weak against artifacts, which, I was exploring Azorius artifacts yesterday. I'm not sure it's really that popular on the ladder, though. The other thing with this deck, we've got the cut downs for against mono red, Insatiable Avarice to be able to go tutor for a card that we need. Also just 3 damage burn in some circumstances. Gix's Command really helps, I think, against the Celestia Rabbits decks and the Boros Convoke, anything that's going wide. This is a pretty useful card. Also can help stabilize with the lifelink, and against control, which this deck shouldn't struggle with anyway, we can return creatures from our graveyard. Virtue of Persistence also gives us that life gain and early interaction against our opponent with the adventure side, being able to give something -3/-3 and then gaining 2 life. And then later is a win condition that can bring cards back from the graveyard. Aklazot's Deepest Betrayal also helps stabilize against aggro if we can make it to turn 5. Shieldred the Apocalypse. I think everybody knows Shieldred by this point, but in case you're coming back to Magic, you gain a life. You gain 2 life every time you draw a card, and then whenever your opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. And this is a pretty good tool to put in with the discard, because the way that they beat this is by card draw, to kind of negate all of the discard that the deck is running. Hostile Investigator hits your opponent's hand. Also, then whenever your opponent discards off of like Lily and things like that, then you also get a clue token where you can then draw cards, and it helps outvalue your opponent. Thoughtstalker Warlock is you get to basically do like a coercion. If they've lost life, then you get to look at their hand and choose a non-land card from it and discard it. And if they haven't lost life, then they just discard a card. One of the things, if they do only have 1 land in hand, sometimes it's better to actually do this without damaging your opponent first, if you know that it's a land, right? Otherwise, they won't discard anything. Preacher of the Schism is a pretty good mid-range threat. It's nice stabilization with the Death Touch and the 4 toughness. Can be difficult for some decks to get over. And then also gives you card draw and creates 1/1 vampire creature tokens with lifelink. We've also got the Iridescent Vine Lasher, which is definitely seeing play in a lot of black decks, because if you get this down on turn 1, then each time you play a land, you're dealing 1 damage to your opponent, which works nicely with cards that care about if your opponent has lost life this turn. And if you have Offspring, then your lands deal 2 damage every time you're playing one. So it works pretty well with the Fabled Passage as a nice synergy. This one being able to trigger the landfall twice. So with Iridescent Vine Lasher in play, you can end up doing a fair amount of damage just by having the Fabled Passages, which is something that I underestimated at the beginning of the during pre-release. And we've also got 1 copy of the Dross Pits, which is a tap land that can give us a draw card. And we've got 2 copies of the Mudflat Village, which allows us to bring back a bat, lizard, rat, or squirrel from our graveyard to our hand. We have a little bit of synergies with that, and curious to see how the Mudflat Village plays in this list. So with that, I'm going to play a couple of games. Again, if you're new here, I'm not, top Mythic. I do this as a hobby, not a full-time job, and I'll do my best not to make mistakes. But one of the things that you can do to learn, right, is learn off of my mistakes. So I'll do my best to point out where I make a mistake and try to do as little as possible. And please enjoy. All right, opponent is going first, but we have a turn 1 with Vine Lasher. That should be good. We also have 2 turn 3 plays, no interaction. See how this one goes, but Vine Lasher and then get the Fabled Passage going on turn 2 works pretty nicely. Notably, this deck was missing turn 2 plays in the curve, so I think that's kind of planned to do the Vine Lasher into Fabled Passage. And since we have so many 3-drops in hand, I'm not going to wait to do the Offspring on 3. And let's just do this now before attacking in case they have a trick for the Vine Lasher, like Sonar Strike or something. And that's a pretty aggressive start. Okay, so we're up against Domain. This deck's doing surprisingly well despite having lost the Triomes. Leyline would be discounted now from 6 to 3, so they could have a Leyline. I think I like going with the Thoughtstalker Warlock and being able to get whatever thing they have out of their hand. Might even do it before attacking with the Vine Lasher, since they did just lose life for me playing the land. Alright, what do we got here? We got Lightning Helix, Archangel, Temporary Lockdown, and Herd Migration. I don't think I care too much about the Temporary Lockdown because they're missing Double Pip White. And let's see, they've got black, they're missing green. No, they have green. What colors do they have? Yeah, green, red, white. Alright. So this can help them find white. I think that's either the Lightning Helix or the Archangel of Wrath, because they can cycle this to go get white. So Archangel's coming eventually. And I think it's the card that I care about getting rid of the most. I could have kept them stuck on white by taking the Herd Migration. That might have been the right move. It is 2 or less, so right now it's only getting the Vine Lasher. So that's not too big of a deal. And Aclazotz is going to be pretty nice as long as they don't have a Sunfall. Now, Preacher of the Schism only triggers when it attacks, so I don't think there's any reason to play it pre-combat. See if they Lightning Helix something here. Did not. I think we just keep curving out because they didn't have a ill-timed explosion or anything. So this is where they go find white with Herd Migration. And they've had enough. The discard strategy works pretty well for the control decks. Even though we didn't hit too much, just that little bit of hand hate's really all you need. I've really been enjoying the set, though. I've been doing the best I ever have on a start of a set in draft. I've got like a 70% win rate and a 60% trophy rate. So right now I've just been like farming gems in draft, which has been pretty sweet. As far as mulligan for this deck, I'm not 100% sure. Let's see, what are our turn ones? We have Cut Down, Vine Lasher, Ruthless Negotiation, Bandit's Talent, just any form of interaction, and then we kind of have 3s. So this doesn't really start until turn 3. I'm gonna try it. It's probably a mulligan, but we are on the play. And then Fabled Passage would make it so that I'm less likely to draw lands down the road. Which with this hand, I don't think I want to flood. I do want to hit 4, but we've got a fair amount of draws that even if I thin here, I think it's okay. Alright, Black-White Surveil. Are we up against Orsov Control? Down to turn 2 if they play a creature. Ah, Deep Cavern Bat. So I think we just get rid of Deep Cavern Bat. I think we go with paying the 3 life. There are graveyard synergies, as I mentioned, but we do have Feed the Cycle, so maybe I'm supposed to just get rid of that. They still get to see my hand. So next turn we're doing Preacher, and then hopefully drawing a land into Hostile Investigator and Shieldred. We might be up against the Orsov discard deck that uses the Nurturing Pixies. We'll see. Okay, getting a little bit... We really need to hit that turn 4 land. Okay, Deep Cavern Bat here has to take Feed the Cycle, or we just remove it next turn. And we hit the land. Okay, so do we want to play Shieldred, or do we want to play Hostile Investigator? Whenever he attacks while you have the most life, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So we're not doing that. We're going to create a token. So if we were going to draw, I'd want to play the Shieldred. So I think I'm going to go with the Hostile Investigator. And just start hating on their hand. Shieldred's not a bad option, though. It does start damaging them every time they draw, so I could see this being the right play. Especially if they do have some form of hand hate, they might be able to get rid of Shieldred. Okay. Give me some clue tokens so we can gain some life off of Shieldred. Seems okay to me. Now, this is where, are we up against Orsov Control or Orsov Discard? Because if we're up against Control, we start looking at like board wipes being a problem, and maybe I should be playing around the Wrath, especially if they don't develop the board here. Okay, I think cut down on Deep Cavern Bat and just maybe draw with the clue is probably the safest in case they have a Sunfall. Could draw life. Oh, there's no way for me to get... I could get to 18 by... But I... No, okay. Let's just go with attacking here. Now this is where the head games begin, because it's possible that I'm supposed to keep developing the board here. But I think I like cut down and drawing off the clue token rather than developing the board. Sometimes I get too cute though, because like in the Azorius Artifacts deck, I totally screwed up. Okay, get a 2/2. Okay, so there's not a Wrath. We're not looking at a Wrath, we're looking at a Virtue of Loyalty. So instant speed, I could just kill the Bat and the Doorkeeper Thrall. While they're tapped out. It's probably worth... It might be worth doing this afterwards, but like I think, especially with that Virtue sitting there, that they're just threatening about going wide. We've got 3 other cards to beat. That's why I like cut downs too, is that they work pretty well against the Deep Cavern Bat. So you'd rather not use like a Go for the Throat or Bitter Triumph on a Bat. But cut down works pretty well. So I think here, once we have Shieldred down, as long as they don't have removal, we kind of have inevitability. And now we have more life than they do. so Shieldred will be gaining life every time that we draw a card. They are in a pickle. Just woke up, so I got thirsty. I've got full control on? What was that about? Oh, Zoraline, okay. That would have been a good target to save. Maybe I should have let that, like... Oh. Oh my! Lily is pretty tempting here. Over Shieldred. Since Zoraline can bring stuff back, like the Deep Cavern Bat. Could also get rid of their last card. Get another clue token. Couple of options here. I think if we get rid of Zoraline, they're just dead. They're just dead, right? So if they do block with the 2/2, let's attack first. The downside to attacking first is I don't gain the life off of Shieldred if we do end up playing that. Because I don't want to play Liliana. I don't want to play Liliana if it's going to be just... Alright. Let's just slam the Shieldred then. So, I could have been at... What? One more life? Yeah, I had to go for the throat. It's fair. I think I like double blocking here. Oh man, they're just really close to dead, right? They get rid of Liliana, but like... It's not looking good for them. They could have a go for the throat. Alright, I meant cut down. Yeah, sorry. Maybe blocking is wrong there, because I get 2 for 1. They don't have a card in hand. Sacrifice Bat, they have a good block, but I still think just attacking here is fine. They have to block this. They don't have to block the Preacher. Okay, nice. So now we can draw and play one of our 3 drops. Because if they go down, if they don't block with Zoraline, then they can't bring anything back. It's still a 3/3 flyer, but like... So now they're at 2. Either way. This seems fine.
Something suspicious is going on. And for once, it's not my fault.
I guess I could have developed the board here instead of going for Zoraline. But now they're on a top deck, and I've got the resource game 1. I'm getting salt roped. Did I crash? The deck is pretty fun. It's not bad.
Ah, one of your friends has to leave.
We already played a land, so there's no reason to draw there. But did they put on full control for their salt rope? Come on, man. Wasting everybody's time. Just concede and go on to the next match. It's not that big a deal. I can't believe people do this in platinum and in diamond, especially diamond. Once you get to mythic, it's like this sort of crap doesn't happen because everybody wants to just get their games per hour way up. All right, first game on the draw, I think. We do have a turn 1 with Ruthless Negotiation, which seems to be this deck's kind of MO, is like Vine Lasher or maybe just discard on 1. We got Virtue on 2, and then Preacher on 3 and Gix's Command on 5. Seems like a pretty good hand. A little prone to mono red, right? No instant speed interaction if we were up against the turn 3 Slick Shot Show Off. What's this? Lush Portico and Cavern of Souls. Celestia Rabbits? Oh, what do we got here? Plains. Okay. Black. Ooh, Abzan Control? Lily's gonna be really nice if we're up against Control. Fabled Passage. No blue. No ability to get blue. I think with all this interaction, I might just play Lily and start attacking their hand. Kind of feel like the cut down's not great in this matchup. I'm assuming I'm in a control matchup if my opponent hasn't done anything. Oh, is this domain? Oh, it's probably another domain matchup.
Nobody knows Dominaria shadows like me.
See, yeah, I don't think there's very many targets for cut down against
We'll have things
domain.
we'd rather forget.
That's my... Ah! I'm finding. Okay.
I'll be back with friends.
Heaped Harvest as a way to kind of... Saw people exploring this instead of like the Topiary Stomper, right? Because we lost the Topiary Stomper in rotation. Harvest seems like an interesting one to include. Gives you some life gain. I've seen people running it over the Cornucopia, like I mentioned in my meta review on Monday. I think the tournament winner was running Heaped Harvest instead of the Cornucopia. Alright, well, attacking with Preacher looks pretty excellent here. No removal one time, please? Hornlock Whale to bounce me, maybe? Okay. Don't think Domain's running any counter spells, so that we should be able to get this resolved and take a look at what we've got going on in our opponent's hand. Alright, we've got double Atraxa, Get Lost, and Archangel of Wrath. So Atraxa needs to be at 7, and there's 2 of them already, so I don't think I go that route. They only have 1 white. I think getting rid of the Archangel of Wrath helps me push damage. Could get rid of the Get Lost, because they can't play the Archangel of Wrath. Could just instant speed, feed the cycle, but then it's going to kill my Thoughtstalker Warlock. That's a tough choice between Get Lost and Archangel of Wrath. Because they're going to go get white here. This costs 2 to do. Well, they could do it now. So we're looking at next turn. Alright, let's just get rid of the Archangel. And then we just have to race the Atraxa. And the cool part about the Heaped Harvest is like it's double ramp, right? So it fits pretty well into the domain strategy. Life stabilization. Ackleslots doesn't get exiled.
No secret escapes my grasp.
Our draw. Okay. So we have 5. I wish I had more discard right now. I guess I could Ruthless Negotiation. Try to pick apart their hand. They're gonna get lost this turn. It'd be right to just get Ackleslots down, but I'd like to do that after they use the Get Lost. So I have to attack Jace with 2 things if I want it to... They use Get Lost on the token, though. I think that's fine. They don't have any Sunfalls or anything. Okay. So I feel like Ackleslots is worse here with the fact that they have the Get Lost. So I think I just want to start hating on their hand as much as I can. And just go with the Ruthless Negotiation. We get their random card. Okay, they got rid of the Get Lost. Interesting. Ooh, up the Beanstalk is going to give them a little bit of value. They might be able to get an Atraxa off and refuel their hand. So we need to close this game out soon. Ooh, and they drew into Sunfall. Uh-oh. Things are going south. At least they didn't get to Sunfall my Ackleslots. So, ooh, Bandit's Talent. They hit a land, they get an Atraxa. If I could make them discard all 3, we'd be pretty gravy. Bandit's Talent does 1, so does Ruthless Negotiation, so they still would be able to hold on to it. I think what I'm going to do here is do the Vine Lasher, play the land, play the Ackleslots, and go for the double discard next turn. We've got Feed the Cycle to kill the Atraxa. Hopefully they whiff on the land. I don't think I'm going to Offspring it. Because we're not guaranteed that many land top decks. Another Sunfall. No. Oh, they drew 2. That's just too good. They didn't hit the land though, so they haven't hit Atraxa yet. Damn. Have not been able to get through their hand. I've got nothing to bring back with Gix's command. This is not looking particularly good in this matchup. Nothing to bring back with Virtue Persistence, so that also feels like a dead card. I guess I'm doing Vine Lasher and Bandit and flipping, like, and then Offspring this. But this is not looking good. Now, the 3rd level of this does give us some additional draw. Yeah, there's Atraxa. Probably scoop it up here. Yeah, up the Beanstalk really screwed with the discard strategy. Let's see, Black does have some, or did have some enchantment options. And we do have Early Winter. I think we lost the Edict one. Now we get the awesome. Okay. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it. Okay, well, so we have to start off with either Gix's command or Feed the Cycle. Put 2+1/+1 counters on, and then it gains lifelink. Destroy each creature. Guess I'll Gix's command. Since we don't really have like anything else that we want to do, right? I could, if I had 7, I could Feed the Cycle and Forge and play the Ruthless Negotiation and try to whittle away at this hand. But I think it's kind of feeling like not great. They've got their win con here. They can do it all over again if they want to. They've got the stabilization of the Archangel of Wrath, removal on Leyline Binding. Honestly, when your opponent resolves an Atraxa, you can usually just scoop it up. I like to play them out for these gameplay videos, but if I was playing by myself, I probably would have just been like, all right, GG, you got the Atraxa down. Because again, like, especially if you're just trying to grind a Mythic, quitting some of your games early is a way to save time, maximize wins per hour. But it's kind of fun to watch, right? I mean, this is what the domain deck's about. If you haven't seen the domain deck before, they did do well here. Okay. Have a leyline. I wish they didn't have the leyline binding. Virtue doesn't hit Archangel. Virtue can kill this though. So we've got 6 mana. Don't really want to play the Shieldred until they play the leyline binding out. This might get that. I think we just go Hostile Investigator and Feed the Cycle. Because we can't let them continue to gain the life off of Archangel. But then I have no answer for their Atraxa. Their second Atraxa, such as life. We do have some creature synergies, so let's go with the land, the instant, and sorcery. And now for round 2. Honestly, they could just like Herd Migration and probably go for lethal, but I bet with this, I bet they'll play the second Atraxa. Because why not? We gotta have fun, right? Oh, temporary lockdown hits Bandit's Hall. I didn't think about that. Man, they're playing it kind of loose. What if I had a Mind Rot? Honestly, like, what if I did this into a Mind Rot? Getting rid of their entire hand, that would have been a moment, so I'm not sure I liked that line from the opponent not playing the Herd Migration or the Atraxa. I do still have to discard even if this is the only thing I play. I'm gonna play the Shieldred out. if they play both cards that aren't Atraxa... Alright. Now we don't have an answer for Atraxa in hand. I'll give it a top deck, but if we don't hit removal, I don't think there's any way we're winning this game. So the Jace is in here for the mirror match, helps you if you need to go to mill. Elspeth Smite for mono red. Atraxa Herd Migration are the win cons. Surprisingly, the Leyline Binding and the Herd Migration still work without the Triomes. I'm still like blown away that this deck is viable. But yeah, this should be a favored matchup for this. This deck should be favored. But not when they resolve an Atraxa. Gotta hate on their hand better. Yeah, up the beanstalk is really what did us in. Alright, another one where opponent is going first. We've got cut down. Still probably do the Fabled Passage on 2, just to get the tap land out of our hand. That way we can keep up the cut down in case we're up against mono red. And then we've got the Preacher probably over the Warlock on 3. Investigator on 4. Warlock after they've been damaged. Seems good. Ha, okay, mono red. So with mono red, I think it's usually nice to keep the cut down option to do in response to them playing a combat trick. They probably play around it. Alright, we'll just kill that. 'Cause I don't think waiting for the 2-for-1 is better than just saving the 2 life here. But I was curious about this matchup because it doesn't feel great on paper since we only have the 3 cut downs. Alright, Blazing Crescendo. I haven't seen black yet, so this might be the one that's running the Manifold Mouse as opposed to the Cruel Sellsword, or Callous Sellsword. Preacher might be able to give us some stabilization against the Swift Spear. The good news is this can block here, even if they have a monstrous rage. Like, Preacher of the Schism gets rid of this, so that should help. Double Felonious Rage. Okay, so that's fine. Ooh, cut down. I think I like Thought Stalker Warlock and hold up the cut down more than I like the Investigator. We are just gonna have to try to trade, and it probably gets punished by a combat trick more. But like, if I played this, they just go around it. Cut down, I might be able to get a 2-for-1. So let's see what they discard. They were stuck on land, so usually this deck runs a pretty low land count, so getting stuck on 2 is not uncommon. Alright, let's try to get them with the cut down. Oh, because then I can't do the cut down on it? I guess they can then play in response either way. Alright. Bane Splitter first was smart. Yeah, because then they held the Monstrous Rage, so I couldn't use the cut down in response. Well played. 5, we go to 8. Removal off the top would have been nice. No such luck. Hopefully they can't get over the top of the investigator, and we'll be okay. They're down to 1 card. We'll just Fabled Passage here to thin. Yeah, we're blocking, and that's that. Okay. Just don't have anything to develop the board. Okay, there's a chance. And we have feed. We get their last card. Okay. I feel better about this. I actually want to hold up feed the cycle and not draw unless we can draw at the end of their turn. Ooh, they did have Callous Sellsword. Okay, now they're on a top deck. Might be a while before they find a threat, hopefully. Just have a bunch of combat tricks. Ooh, buddy, okay. What card would be... Shieldred would be really good here for life stabilization, right? So we play Preacher and Insatiable Avarice go find Shieldred. We'd have to drop Feed the Cycle for a turn. I could keep up the Feed the Cycle and play the Avarice. That's probably safer than playing the Preacher. Because, like, what? Their one way they win is they play, like, a Slick Shot Show Off on a combat trick or something. So I think let's just play it safe. And keep up the Feed the Cycle. The Preacher does give me more life gain next turn, though. Well, it just creates the 1/1 lifelink tokens. Doesn't help me draw. Okay, I think I'm just going to keep up instant speed removal the rest of the game if I can. We do have enough to forage, so I can Shieldred and still have Feed the Cycle up. Okay, Slick Shot Show Off. Very good. Yeah, this actually is played better than I thought it would. I was like, originally I didn't think there was enough graveyard synergies, but I think Feed the Cycle actually looks pretty good here. Sorcery, land, instant, sure. Whew, okay, that one was feeling a little thin, but we got there. Thanks for watching. I hope that gives you a good idea what the deck is doing, how it's operating, the tools that you have for the different strategies. The one matchup that we really didn't get, because we got control, we got aggro. What I didn't get time for was the Boros Convoke or the Celestine Rabbits deck, which is the natural weakness for this deck. So if you do play the discard deck, know that you are weak to the go wide strategies with the single point interaction. Your best card in that situation is then Gix's Command. So thanks for being a part of my community, and I hope you're enjoying yourself and learning about Magic and enjoying the first week of Bloomburrow as much as I have been. Tomorrow I've got a bunch of decks to choose from for my top 4 favorites. We've got way more than 4 off-meta picks, so it's not like just one deck is going to Mythic. We've got plenty of options, lots of things to explore, and yeah, so I'll be picking my favorite 4 on Sunday, and then putting up the poll again for the gameplay video on Saturday, and either posting draft videos or, little gameplay videos like I did for Azorius Artifacts if I have time throughout the week. Again, this is something that is not anywhere near financially enough to be a full-time job. I had aspirations, but sadly not making it there. That being said, though, if you want to join as a member, I would be, very grateful for the support. And the idea was that members were going to get shout outs and free deck techs and things like that, but it hasn't gone particularly well. So let me know if you have any ideas about how to make the membership more interesting. Love to hear back from you guys. And on Monday, I'll be going over my best of 1, best of 3 meta review, covering the tournament winners from the weekend and what the tracker says for the, what would be, week 2? The beginning of week 2 of Bloomburrow. So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful Saturday or what's left of it. Wonderful weekend. And yeah, catch you tomorrow.